Well, good afternoon. I am Drew Wash. This is Domain to Profit, where we look through this week's expiring domain names and pick out the best ones to purchase or to look at developing. Generally, we look through lots of domain names and just try to talk about which ones you should buy. Which ones are the best ones to buy out of all the hundreds of thousands of domain names you can get. Which ones are the ones that you're not wasting your money on? Many people waste money on domain names. I want to make sure you're not one of them. So thanks for joining me. If you are here watching on Restream, just know this is a live show. We do it every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I get together with me in the community. Which community? Hey, everybody. Make sure you say hi. Let everybody know that you are here. This is a show that, yeah, I may be the one on the screen, but the chat is where it's at. Lots of people out there, all of us looking through the many expiring domain names and, well, finding the best ones, competing at auction to get the domain name, and then hopefully developing. That is what we're after, is developing domain names. But if nothing else, I want to make sure that even if you don't buy to develop, that you are buying the right domain name. Yeah, nothing to sell here, but yeah. Okay, so we are going to look through expiring domain names on the other side. Here in a few minutes, we're going to do that. And we are going to concentrate today on the idea of what would we do with this domain name? It's an important question, and it's one of the questions that if you are answering it for every domain name you are considering, you will be in a much better position than most. However, word of warning, most people think I would do this with this domain name means that they're going to start some giant Fortune 500 company. And as I get into what are you going to use this domain name for, I want you to think like, truly, what are you going to do with it? That is the correct level of vision that you need to have, is what can you actually do with the domain name, not some dream world idea, which we'll talk about that. Make sure you say hi. Make sure you let the chat know you're here. We are going to get started and get this show on the road. See you on the other side.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Bill, nice to have you here. First comment of the day. Hello, everyone. Yes, thanks, Bill, for joining us. Domain Explorer, nice to have you back as well. And Yo-Yo here, check Coaster G. Then we got Jeffrey. Let's see. It's a holiday in Canada, but what a better way to celebrate than here with Drew. Yeah. This is the place to be. I've done we've done Domain to Profit for 134 weeks now. 134 weeks, several of which have been on holidays. I think we even did one on my birthday at one point. I think that's the one we did poolside, right? I think we did poolside on my birthday. Mike, nice to have you here as well. Yeah, the music, I think I talked about the music a little bit. The intro music was one of the things I knew for certain when I started this show 134 weeks ago, was that I wanted to have a good theme song inspired by, well, Ben Folds was the artist that inspired the theme song, but Pat Flynn, who does Smart Passive Income, he was doing a daily podcast or a daily video live stream, and he had a good intro, and I was like, that really makes his show for me. I want to make sure I have one too. So I think it's probably, yeah, I like it. I like it. Well, thanks for joining me. As I said on the top of the show, we are here to look through expiring domain names today with a focus on what would you do with this domain name. I asked that question because as I was looking through the domain names we're going to look at today briefly, I found a lot of the domain names were just like what I call an almost domain name. It's a domain name that it's almost worth buying until you put it through the filter and think about what would you do with it. The best domain name, let me just say this, the best domain name to buy is a domain name that it's a blank canvas and it has the color by number. I use this analogy all the time. It needs to put the outline with the instructions of what should be on that domain name. Those are the best domain names. Those are towing.com, photobooths.com, djs.com, and so on. Okay, man, got a tickle starting. That's not good. Not good in the middle of trying to talk for an hour. So what is it, how can this domain name be used? That's had allergies kick up big time over the weekend, and I was like, in my garage coughing like crazy. I'm hoping this doesn't turn into one of my allergic cough fits, because if it does, I'm in big trouble. Okay. Well, I'll just take this moment to say, yes, smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Like and subscribe, certainly what you should be doing. Because I work for likes, I work for subscribes. I cough for them as well. Okay, now. So now that you've hit the subscribe, let's get on to some domain names. That way I can at least put them on the screen, even if I'm off coughing like crazy. Join me here. This is expireddomains.net. Expireddomains.net, free site. Set up your free account. I have nothing to do with it other than I am an advocate and a user. So I just love the site, and it's something I found out there, and I've been at it for a really long time. So chances are it's the best. If you have something better, say it in the chat. So here on expireddomains.net, we spend our time under this tab right up there for marketplace domains, and then GoDaddy expired domains. And you'll see all across there behind me, there are other places, other marketplaces that you can search through the domains. The GoDaddy expired domains, we concentrate here on the live show, well, because there's the most, they're the best. They are not the best, the domain names they represent are the best. So we want to make sure that we concentrate on there. I guess ultimately if you have the most and highest quantity and quality of domain names, I think it does kind of make you the best. So there we go. So as of that point, you will filter out the domain names. We have on the YouTube channel, you'll find a video that is there for the filters that we use. We only look at .com domain names. If you look at past weeks, I talk about that frequently. We remove hyphens, we remove numbers, we look at 1 to 3 English words, and that's pretty much it. And we're only looking at domain names over the next week, because we'll be back next week to look over the week after. These keep coming. These domain names keep coming. So that's the beauty of domain names, is we can do a weekly show. So 108,000 domain names up there. We are only going to get to 200, 400, sometimes 600 domain names. But the key thing is we will order them by this here, the valuation, which you can probably say it with me as of this point. The valuation is not the value of the domain name. The valuation is simply an order code. It helps us bring the domain names to the top that are likely the best domain names. It does not actually assign a value. If you use that value, you will be broke very quickly. Do not use that value other than to help bring some of the best domain names up to the top. Otherwise, you're going to be looking through 108,000 domain names, which, good luck on that. So now that we're ordered by valuation, we have the domain names up. Let's start looking through the expiring domain names that are happening this week. This is pretty much how we do it, folks. Follow along. Hopefully you got your filter set up. Scratchy.com, I'll just mention it because I do have myself in on that auction. This is one that I want to mention there was something going on with these domain names. Somebody was trying the old bid themselves up trick and hoping of getting a domain name for cheap. So I'll try to run through what was happening here. If you saw this, actually, I posted over on Twitter that somebody was bidding up a bunch of domain names up to the $10,000 level. What they were doing, and here's what I'm expecting that was happening with this. If you looked at Scratchy.com just a couple days ago, the max bid was, or the bid was $10,000. It's kind of talked about behind the scenes. People know that you could, in theory, set up 2 bidder accounts for a domain name on GoDaddy, and then you can quickly bid yourself up, and then if you do not pay with the first account and just say, hey, I'm not going to pay whatever else, that account will get banned by GoDaddy, but then they roll it back to the second place bidder when they weren't competing with the first place bidder. Long story short, GoDaddy caught on, which I love because it's scammy. Don't do that. Like, don't scam. Don't, like, it's just money. What are you doing? Don't pollute the world like that. Somebody was trying to do it and bid up many tens of thousands of dollars in domain names. GoDaddy was wise to it and hopefully banned all the accounts that were associated with it. Scratchy.com was one of them. If you looked a couple days ago, it said the $10,000 was the minimum bid on this one. Now it's down to $1,250. 3 days left on this one. What are you going to put on Scratchy.com? What are you going to put on Scratchy.com? I have no idea. Like, I could see this being, the little scratch-offs. I don't know if those are maybe for festivals, maybe you can sell them. That seems pretty ambitious because I have no idea how to do that. Scratchy, maybe itching powder. Here's what we typically do with a domain name. I don't expect to find much data with this, but a typical domain name, which we will do on other domain names, we go to spyfoo.com. Spyfoo.com, you'll see the URL up there. This is how we do some keyword research. Out of 108,000 domain names, how do you know which ones are good, which ones are garbage? How can you tell this? How can you tell which ones, without a doubt, are the best ones to build a business on? That's what I want to offer you here, is knowing which ones are the best ones. So SpyFoo is one of the tools that allow us to better do that. So I'm going to just take Scratchy.com, put it into the search tool. SpyFoo is going to gather the search data related to that keyword. If you notice, I got rid of the .com. So it's only Scratchy, got rid of .com, and now we're only looking at the keywords related to the domain name, in this case, one word. 2,800 monthly searches is what we have. So this is actually kind of funny because look at this right here. Scratchy throat. Yeah, see it? It's actually better. Luckily, I saved it before it got to a coughing fit. But Scratchy.com, 2,800 searches, that tells us that people are typing in the keyword Scratchy into Google. So some of that traffic will end up on your .com domain name, .com being the primary extension. However, does that matter? We don't know until we look at the money, which we can find down on the bottom part of SpyFoo. This is Google data. So Google's providing some data. The data tells us how many advertisers there are. That's this right here. And then it also shows us up here the cost per click that people pay to reach this audience. And you'll see there's no money and nobody paying anything. So even though there is 2,800 searches a month, there's really nobody trying to reach this audience. That's not good. We're not going to like seeing that. But check out the middle section here. We might find something. What are you going to put on this domain name? Looks like we have scratchy throat, itchy and scratchy, like not seeing any, like, do you want to sell cold medication? Do you want to sell throat lozenges? I could see that being a thing. Again, that sounds ambitious, right? That sounds, I don't know how to make throat lozenges. I could find something on the internet. I'm not interested in doing it. So what are you going to put on it? Probably the same as me, nothing. You're going to hope to buy this domain name and then sell it for more. which is not what we are out to do. Therefore, moving on from that domain name, I am in on this domain name as an investor up to a little bit, but we'll see. Only because I like the domain name. So, will mention Matt is sharing out the Domain to Profit Discord. So I know that's going to be impossible to type all that in. One thing I will tell you is actually, if you go to, bing, toss that up on the screen, added the QR code. I fixed it from last week. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to From Domain to Profit, which is our website. If you sign up for the newsletter, it will send you a link to that Discord server where some are probably chatting right now even. So let me get back out, hide that. Fred, Stuart, see you guys coming in. Nice to see us. And back to this here, Brawler. That's kind of fun, Silverglass. So you'll see a lot of domain names here. And one of the reasons why I thought really paying attention to what are we going to do with that domain name was an important topic today is a lot of these domain names look like they're worth buying, but are they? Like, just like we saw with Scratchy, what do you, like, I'd love to own Scratchy. It sounds like a good domain name, but what are you going to put on it? What I see a lot of people do is a lot of domain investors will see a domain name like Scratchy and think they'll go do some search and find that the throat lozenge market is $800 million industry, and they're like, Scratchy.com could be a major player in this $800 million industry. And it's like, no, it like, could it? Yeah, but it could also be nothing. It could be garbage. And to get it to that point is going to be more than what you can do. Like, what are you buying that? Like, why would you buy that domain name if you're not going to be the person that actually takes it there? Well, you can hopefully maybe buy it low, sell it for high to somebody that does want to create that. No, not my game. Hopefully it's not yours either. I mean, maybe if you see room, then go for it. Restaurant app, not a bad thing. I don't know. What do you think? Restaurant app? I'm not a huge fan of app domains, but let's see what happens with this one. So how would you build it? How would you build out restaurantapp.com? $510 currently. This one's going to end just before showtime next week. Let's see if it has any search data. So in this case, we're going to take restaurantapp.com, space it out. So now it's restaurant app, remove the .com, and search 1,500 searches for restaurant app. I imagine you would put some kind of restaurant app on it. Maybe, maybe not. Cost per click, $2. So there's somebody paying for this. Only one advertiser really happening though. That's not necessarily great. Here's some of the similar keyword data. Restaurant app, 1,500. Restaurant website and app, 1,200. What do you think people are doing with this? What do you think they're going to want to build on it? I mean, I'm thinking like DoorDash or something, or I know there's different apps that help restaurants like do both DoorDash and Uber Eats and all of them all together. Is that in your wheelhouse to do? Can you build that? If the answer is no, then you are taking a risk bidding on a domain name like restaurant.app. Like, if you're not part of who can build it out, you are going to be speculating on somebody else's dream. Chances are it may never actually happen. You may never pursue, or you may not price it right. Who knows what else might happen? So what I would do with restaurantapp.com would be to build probably some kind of basic directory of apps and software that work for restaurants. I might even, since I see this restaurant website and app, that might be people that are looking for to add a website and app for their restaurant, which if that's the case, I kind of like targeting that a little bit because we so happen to have software that will help people build websites. So in that case, maybe we can create a little app. I know there's things that will turn websites into apps. I don't know, maybe we can do something with this. Now, the key thing there is I was putting myself, like me and my company could be capable of doing that. Am I really, like, does the work line up with, is it worth it to reach 1,500 searches for it? Really nobody advertising? The answer for me is going to be likely a no. $510. You know, if you can get this domain name for $600, $800, which you will have to pay more than that, this domain name is going to go for the low four figures for sure, then so be it, then go for it. However, it is not going to, it's going to cost you too much. So, come on. Oh, they're going to make me sign in and everything else. I guess we're not going to be able to do a summary on it. We'll see. Because I am not signing in and doing all that extra work. Again. Let me see here. Okay, I see chat happening, talking about Domain Academy, which, you know, Domain Academy is nice because it gives you some structure to a lot of what we talk about here as well. Restaurant app, going to get a star here. I usually add it to my watch list, but yeah, Mindfly. And I will say, those joining me live, if you see something you like, make sure you mention it in the chat. And you cannot place domain names in the chat. They'll be spam filtered out. So what you can do is just space it out. You know, just say the words michigantravel.com or something like that, which I just read that off the screen here. The auction house, do not like the in front of domain names unless it makes sense. In that case, it does not. Cook Hub, what would you put on it? Okay, let's just take Cook Hub for a, let's take Cook Hub for an example here. Cook Hub, the veteran. I see Cook Hub and I think, okay, I could see this being products and services related to cooking, probably a directory, maybe some recipes, some of those things that are things I can do. Directory being maybe personal chefs or something like that. Find personal chefs around you, cookhub.com, or maybe where personal chefs hang out. Sounds like a reasonable thing that can happen on Cook Hub. Now, here's what a rookie would say. And I see this all the time when people pitch domain names. Somebody will say, well, Cook Hub, well, the cooking and restaurant industry is a $5 billion a year industry. Cook Hub can be the main central website for all of them, and it's a $5 million domain name. Please. If you, it's great that your imagination can think of these giant scale businesses, and if you've ever built something like that, then hey, ignore this guy. Ignore me if you've ever built some giant, numerous billion-dollar website. Chances are this is going to be something that would be a very small project. It's going to be something that you can build that will maybe be a central hub of related to cooking things. Makes sense? Don't get carried away and think, I don't really know what the heck I'd put on it, therefore it's not going to be really something that's going to get my attention unless the keyword data backs it up. No. Keyword data, no money, no keywords, Cook Hub, rookie. Rookie might be like, Cook Hub is worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to own Cook Hub. Rookie. Veteran saying, keyword data is not here. Yes, it's a big industry, restaurants and food, but ultimately there's, excuse me, many thousands of domain names that you can use to target those industries. So why choose this one? You're up against thousands of other domain names. Cook Hub is not all that great. It is something worth, maybe if you can get it for a couple $100 and you want to build something, go for it. Sounds like a great blog. Ah, man. Battling this cough. It wasn't there all day. All day. I get ready to start the show, and then I was cleaning out my garage this weekend, and I have like a allergy to like some kind of dust or whatever, like especially in the springtime when around Cincinnati, Ohio, we have I think it's cottonwood, but these little white things blow around through the air. Man, I get coughing fits like crazy with those things. And the difficult part is when I have a coughing fit, if I start the cough, it gets worse. Like it really, anyhow. Yeah, so that. Specialty Finance, let's check that one out. SpecialtyFinance.com is the domain name. Ends, over $2,000 already. Does not appear to be bidder 1 and 2 already going against each other. Nobody else in the auction. Let's go check it out. Bidder 1, 2. I'm just seeing if this one by chance falls under. See, this is why you don't bid early, right? I say it all the time. Wait till the last 5 minutes. Bidder 1 and 2 are going at it like crazy. I don't know. We'll see. Let's check out the keyword data on Specialty Finance. I have to think there's some searches for it. 270 searches. Going to use a trick that I use most shows, all shows, highlighting the text, Control F. It's going to bring everything that is yellow, is using the keywords in our domain name, Specialty Finance, boom. This is what we like to see, except for these numbers here are pretty low, so there's really not much happening. 270 searches for our exact match domain name. Outside of that, really not a whole lot happening here. There's searches, there's people using it. Let's see about the money. I mean, after all, Specialty Finance should have some money behind it. There's not. Advertisers, 0. Cost per click, 36 cents. Really not much happening with the domain name. Therefore, I don't know why it's up over $2,000 already, except for people see money-related domain names and lose their minds. But if it was less, I might look at it. I was looking at this, I was like, settlement lawyer. This is like, that's one that's like, how would you develop it? How would you use settlement lawyer? You'd be like, oh, lawyers do settlements and stuff. Like, no, I not a domain name I'm interested in. See all the chat. Oh, here's one I want to talk about here. TrafficSystems.com. I already have this one marked on my list. TrafficSystem.com, again, ending in 7 days. So all these, there's going to be a big day next Monday before the show starts. Not very often that we have a full week to research domain names. 90 searches for this one. Let's see what happens when we do the Control F, which is it searches on the browser, highlights some, not really much happening. Money-wise, we have one advertiser paying $1 per click, so not much money. Again, I like to have advertisers, 10 or more advertisers, cost per click, I want to see it at $2 or more. Those are the great little niche projects that we want to invest in and build on. In this case, road safe traffic systems. I'm thinking more like website traffic. Like, what's a traffic system for generating web traffic? Let's sell a class, run a blog, something along those lines is what I was thinking about putting on this one. So $27 currently, ends in 7 days. Count on that one going for probably low 4 figures. I say that because I'm going to probably bid like $688 on it. I like it from the perspective of building out like a traffic checklist, like how to worry about SEO and web design and social shares and all the different pieces of getting web traffic. Seems like something that might be up my alley a little bit. So, Lucky Tours sounds like a horrible brand name. I mean, maybe if you're going whale watching or something, get lucky and actually see a whale. I don't know. Aerobic Fitness. Okay, it's an enom domain name, which enom domain names we only look at if they are within 2 days. That one's 4 days, so sorry for moving the screen around like crazy, but we're going to skip over that one. Sales Doctor. Sounds like a pretty good brand. $130 currently, ends in 6 days. I see the Sales Doctor being a personal brand, somebody that wants to appear to be the main salesperson that can teach you a sales or something like that. No searches, no money. Again, what would you put on salesdoctor.com? I'm seeing it as a website that you would put a blog on. If you want to teach sales or something like that, you put a class on salesdoctor.com and teach your sales tactics, which hopefully you have some if you own the domain name. Domain track. I will say on domain name with domain in it, which is right up there, like use caution. Because we look through domain names so often, there is a common thing where when you are familiar with something, it is more attractive to you. Okay? This happens with all kinds of different things in marketing. If it's familiar to you, it's more attractive to you. The word domain name or domain is going to be more attractive to you because you deal in domain names. Many rookie domain people, or veterans even, will spend their money on a domain name like Domain Track, thinking that it is like going to be a great domain name. But the fact of the matter is, domain sounds like a good domain because you deal in domains all the time. Like, know that there is a psychological play happening on your brain there. Might be a good domain name. Domain Track makes sense. Keep track of domain names. I could think of ways to build it out, little apps or things. But that doesn't mean that it's a good domain name worth investing in or worth buying and developing out. If it works for a product you already want to create, then so be it. Juice Fasting. Okay, it's an enum domain name. I'm going to pass over it, but something worth looking at if it's within 2 days, which I'm not going to mess with. I do not look at enum domains. In most cases, they get pulled back and never actually complete the auction. But they do occasionally complete, and in those cases, do your own research and grab a good domain name. Fleet research. Yeah. Gun prices. Oh yeah. I mean, I avoid controversial type things most of the time on the show, but gun prices seems like a darn good domain name. $130 currently, 3 days left in the auction. Gun prices, what are you going to put on it? How about gun prices? I don't know. Life gives us clues sometimes. 2,000 searches for gun prices, no money, I'm guessing. So some of the things you have to keep in mind with Google data is cannabis, medical, medicines, and anything to do with that kind of thing, as well as probably firearms like this. Google from it. They take advertisers. They don't take money for it. So even though there's no money listed here, just know that there's probably a market to build a website on this, but you just don't have the data to go with it. Gun prices, we know 2,100 people are searching for it. We see some other, let's do a Control F. The question is would gun price or gun prices be better? Taser gun prices, price gun, price gun, like things you use in a supermarket or something like that. I can see that. So a little bit happening there. Because we don't have money, we really don't know the price or the, it's hard to put a value on the domain name. Because it's guns, I'm not going to probably be bidding on that at all, even though currently $130. I could see this one easily going for 4 figures. Not by me, though. I'll probably bid a few $100s on it. I just don't want to dive into a headache. A headache being owning a domain name that becomes a distraction. Wire payments? See this, what happened? Enum, trying to trick us into looking at your domains. Okay, house report. Oh, house report. House report. Didn't last week we looked at and found that report was going to be, man, I was supposed to do a live show last week talking about report. Report, there's a lot of domains last week ending in report. In fact, I want to bid on this. Okay, I'm going to have to figure out how to log in. Let me take my screen off. I'm going to log into this. If it's going to let me, I'm going to log into GoDaddy. Took my screen off because, well, they're going to send me a text message. I've done this 3 times today already, by the way. And let's see if we get the message and we can enter in our security code. I don't think it's probably an issue if I show this all while I do it, except for I'm not taking any chances. Why take chances that somebody out there is going to hack me? Okay. And there we go. Now we are set up, housereport.com. Here's the thing with this one. We got 22 minutes, so let me research a little bit while I have you on the, while we have it available for all of us. Because if you want to outbid me, then so be it. That is fine. But I want to look at some data on it. House report, 90 searches, not really much happening there. I expect it to be a little higher. Maybe I won't bid, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to bid anyways because that's how I roll. Free died in house report, White House reporters with COVID. Okay, so here is what I'm thinking with this. You know the whole Carfax, the car report, where they check to see if a car's title is clear or not? The house report I see as maybe you could use on housereport.com. You could build a home inspections website or some kind of report on houses where you pull together data, maybe it's sales data, whatever it is. I like it from that perspective, building a real estate or a home services, that transition period, buying and selling real estate. Seems like there's something there that you can do, which is probably what's happening here. Look, 7 advertisers, $3.43 per click. The only thing is nobody's searching for it. So that's the disconnect here. But people do want to reach people that are looking for a house report. Now, the question I have is house report versus home report. What do you think, chat? What do you think is going to be better? I'm guessing home report, maybe? Let's see. Home report, more searches, 5 advertisers, less money. Yeah, not really much happening. I do like house report. I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a bid. Should I show the chat? 338. Okay, let's go with it. Oh, already outbid. Dagnabbit. Well, that's a bummer. I doubt I'll go up any more than that. A bid 888 on the domain name. I think that's going to be it. But I would love to own it. I own buildinginspector.com or something like that. I own a good domain name for it, and I'd love to have something that ties it in a little bit more with home inspections. But for now, it looks like it's not going to be that one. Yeah, it went up quickly. So home, yeah, I see quite a few like home report. I like home report, yeah. In Scotland, there's a legal document called home report, which is required to be produced for every property transaction. Helpful information, thank you. So yeah, there's something there that it's certainly worth checking out, which is why we did. I thought that it would be worth something. Let's go check out. I want to go look real quick. Last week we did a search and we modified our, at the end of last week's show, we looked to see, so what I'm doing here is modifying our filters. You'll see the no hyphens, no numbers, English words 1 to 3. I want to look at domain names that end with report and reports. The reason why I'm doing this real quick is because I remember last week that I was thinking that I might want to come back to this and even do an extra live stream last week to look at these domain names because of this here. As you can see, There are a lot of domain names ending with report. 67 domain names ending with report or reports at the end of them. I think some of them already ended. And they all end around the end of the show. So if there's any other ones that I want, I need to look right now. So we're looking. By the way, as you can probably tell, this is my primary research time for domain names, is live with you. This is it. So what you see me do is about all I spend my time doing. Let's check out, what was that, Dog Report? Dog Report's currently $12. Which in that case, I will tell you, if you're going to bid, wait until the last second and or last 5 minutes. Are there any bids yet? There's no bids yet, so in this case, see if it doesn't, I wouldn't even bid until the last moment. Good Dog Report card, 1,200 searches for that. Not a clue that is. But no money being spent, no advertisers. This one will get a bid from me if somebody else doesn't buy it. Dogreport.com. 30 minutes left. The reason why you do not bid on a domain name that has no bidders is if you are going to bid and there's other bidders, bid 5 minutes, 10 seconds left, put your max proxy bid or a proxy bid in as of that point and see where things fall on winning the domain name. If there's no bids, I would wait until the last few seconds and make sure nobody else bids. If no one else bids, that domain name is going to be available for sale for $50 in about 20 minutes. So in that case, you can buy it for $50 and avoid the auction, which you might think, well, if I bid, I can get it for $12 versus $50. Why would I wait to buy it for $50? The answer is there are many bots that are watching these auctions and people like me that are watching auctions. If you bid at the last second, they will come and bid on that domain name, partly just to make sure you don't get a deal. Or they just want to, like, maybe they know they want to buy it for $50, but they're going to wait and try to buy it now later. Long story short, if you bid, you're likely going to be bid against in the last second. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's see. Try inspection or appraisal. Inspection or appraisal. Yeah, I've looked at a few domain names. We own a couple of them. Just nothing really marquee, nothing that's probably like a high 5-figure domain name. Eventually I'll find one. Okay, back to the report one. Dog Report, that one might get a bid from me. If you see here out on the behind my head, I have included in here a column for the cost per click. So we have some cost per click data. It's saying that people pay money for Dog Report before. Why am I in Dog Report at all? Well, the only reason I would be interested in it is because I own Dog Groomer, Dog Groomers, and Dog Store. Like, I own some dog-related domain names. Dog Report seems to go with it. That's why I would be interested in it at all. Let's check out Friend Report. Yeah, I like it too. Oh, here we go. Clicked on the wrong one here. I like clicked on the wrong one again. Clicking on the chat. If you're following along live in the chat, you'll see a lot that's happening out there. I can only highlight a few as I see them up. But yeah, I like dog pets. I love businesses and things that I can build that are around discretionary income. When people aren't so price sensitive, that's always kind of nice. Never trust a girl who says she's just has a friend. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that's going. Okay, friendreport.com. Again, within 30 minutes, $12 currently, no bids. I don't know. This sounds like one of those scammy sites from the late 90s, early 2000s that, like, what is this person doing? Oh, maybe that's what you're talking about. Never trust a girl who says she just has a friend. It's a friend report. Zero money, zero keyword, not much really happening. I don't know what this would, like, Classmates, is that what it was? Wasn't there a site called Classmates or something? Okay, skipping over Friend Report, looking down through these real quick. Then we'll go back to our other list. Ooh, a snooper report. That sounds kind of fun. Snooper report. It sounds like a brand. Oh, baby, you got what I need. It's a friend report. I'm looking at chat, by the way. If you're not watching, if you're not following along live and with chat, you're just like, this Drew guy has lost it. Actually, even if you are following along, you might be thinking that. And it appears that we are having some internet delays. So, okay, let's go back. We were trying to look up snooper report, and we hit a roadblock. Let's refresh that. Come on. Snooper report ends in 1 day. Let's see if there's any keyword data. I could see this being at least a brand. No real searches, nothing really happening, no money. Okay, well, worth looking at, I guess. Crash data report, that's not bad. Seems like a reasonable thing. Marketing strategy report. Fix the report, tutor reports. Okay. Shopper reports, high roller reports. So these would almost be a little more brandables, but you can hear them and think, I could see that being this. Dating sites report, ignore that one there. That middle S kills it. High roller report, though. Want to keep track of high-priced gamblers, what they're up to. Some of those guys probably want to brag about what they're up to. Let them do it, and then sell the data to casinos or something. That sounds complicated. Don't do that. That's a horrible idea. Man, we are having some... Does not like us clicking on these domain names here. Wonder if that's expired domains or GoDaddy. Okay, this one ends in 6 days. High roller report. I'm not even going to look up the keyword. Let's look up keyword data. Dagnabbit, I don't want to, but I'd hate to skip it. And okay, this must just be my computer having issues because now copy and paste is not working. High roller report. Less than 20. Nothing. Okay. Dagnabbit, I was hoping there'd be something fun happening. Okay, well, there's some fun report domain names. Let's get back to the regularly scheduled broadcast. Wanted to check into those, though, because I thought that some of them might be ending. Search private. It's an enom domain. So back to... well, I'll take a moment to say, make sure you've liked, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you go to that QR code up in the corner of the screen, you can get to From Domain to Profit, where you can sign up for the email list. You'll get an email each week as we go live, as well as any other time we go live, and it will also link you to our Discord server where we can chat throughout the week. We are looking for domain names and asking, what would we do with it? We are... one of the things I really wanted to kind of put in place is to make sure you're thinking of things from your perspective. What can you do? What are you capable of doing? What do you think you can learn from a YouTube video and spend a year building? Like, a lot of people will pull these domain names in. The warning is, don't think about like some crazy dream, like this could be a Fortune 500 company because it's in this giant industry. Like, with most domain names, like you're going to be looking at domain names that's just not going to work on. Matt in upstairs mentioned software engineer jobs. That's within 4 days out, though. The numbers of software engineer jobs looked good, but because it's a enom domain name, I'm going to skip over it. Skills test. So one of the things I really kind of warn people on, especially if English is your second language, one of the things I warn on are middle S's in domain names. You know, a lot of people that don't speak English as a primary language. Heck, even me, I've made this mistake, and I own a couple domain names that have a middle S. They are garbage, and I keep them to remind me that a middle S is a trap. In this case, it's still like skills test, skill test. I don't know what the best domain name there is, whether it be plurals, skill tests, or skills test. Although it's double plural, skills tests. Oh my gosh, it is so hard to say. Let's check it. Let's check it into the search tool here. 420 searches for skills tests. The middle S feels like a trap still. This one might violate my my rules a little bit. Okay, cost per click, $2.70. Advertisers, $5. Singular on test is the better one. You'll see right here behind me. Skills test, 1,100 searches for that one. So we are talking about the double plural. So that S at the end of tests, as well as skills. Wow, that is really hard to say, which makes me think this domain name needs to be knocked down a little bit in regards to what it's worth. But right now it's only going for $12, which is what I like to see. I want this to be a cheap domain name. Some alternatives to this domain name, though. Let's keep this in mind. If you're buying this domain name, you're going to also want to try to get skill tests, like there's a bunch of different domains. That S at the end creates a lot of different domain names. So think of when I owned doggroomers.com. Once I bought doggroomers.com or any domain name that is plural, I quickly try to think and make sure I'm keeping an eye on the singular domain name as well. I say that a domain name that's both singular and plural, for example, dog groomers, dog groomer, or skill tests, skills tests, they share the value. The skills test industry, whatever the heck that is, has some value. Let's say it's $1 million, even though it's probably like, let's say it's $1 million for the sake of example. That $1 million is going to be divided between the singular and the plural. Now in this case, skills tests, that is so hard to say. You are doing a four-way split. Skill, singular, skills, plural, test, singular, test, plural. You're taking whatever the value of this domain name is and dividing it up under 4 different umbrellas. That is not a recipe for domain name success. Keep that in mind as you look for domain names, especially when you kind of think like, oh, I can build this domain name out and it's worth this much to this industry. If there are alternatives, even better alternatives than what you own, including singular and plural domain names, that value of, say, dog groomers, there's value there, but it is going to be divided between dog groomers and dog groomer. So owning them both is the only way to capture it all. Make sense? In this case, you're really complicating your life. There's a lot of alternatives just in singulars and plurals, which is adding the S, removing the S. That I would avoid if English is not your primary language. You are really getting complicated there. Okay, let's start to wrap it up here. Just want to look down these last final. Bestgummies.com. Is that? I don't know. We'll look at it. I'm thinking CBD gummies, cannabis gummies. One of the things I would tell you right now from the get-go, there might not be search data for this, or there might not be money data. So 220 searches for the actual keyword. As we scroll down, you'll see there are some advertisers, but there's no cost per click. That is because I'm thinking gummies are typically, in my brain, this up here, CBD. Well, let's give it a highlight just to see if anything shows up. There's not, but you see here, best CBD gummies, best CBD gummies for sleep, like anything with a CBD or cannabis, GoDaddy's not going to have money data. You can't advertise for those keywords, but people are searching for it. Look at that right there. Best CBD gummies, 6,800 searches. That would probably be what I would buy this domain name for, would be to reach that market. They can't pay Google, but they might be able to pay you. You may be able to create a site on it that does something with it. What's it running currently? $12, ends in a week. So this one's going to be one that ends just during show next week. So bid last minute on it. Wrong screen. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Last little bit. Data lost. Been there before. Sports local and customer obsessed. That sounds like a marketer domain name. That one ends next Monday as well. $12 currently. Now this one you'll see behind me. There's a bidder here already. Now in this case, because there's already a bidder, this domain name will sell. It's going to sell. So waiting till the last second or not bidding, it's going to go to this person that's already bid. So if there is a bidder, you want to wait until 5 minutes, 10 seconds left, do your max or a high proxy bid, and then in that case, you will get to the max level of the other person and hopefully win the domain name. Customer obsessed. That one sounds like something a marketing company would use. Be like, hey, we're a customer obsessed company. Buy our products. And let's see if people are searching for it. Drum roll-ish. 320 searches for it. Customer obsessed quotes, customer obsessed. Okay. There's a little bit of volume here. No money. You see that right over there. No money really happening with the domain name. But people do use it. That's what I call a marketing domain name. A marketing domain name is a domain name that people use to, like, you see it in commercials and things. People have said it before. It's a common phrase. And in that case, they may want this to be to represent them in a marketing campaign or something. We're customer obsessed. Find out customer stories on customerobsessed.com. See how that works? So this would be more of a domain name that you would either buy to sell to somebody that wants to do a marketing campaign, or you buy it to like lease it out to marketing campaigns or something along those lines. There's some options there. For that reason, I actually do like it a little bit. It's going to go on my watch list, customerobsessed.com. And on that note, those are our domain names. Let's go through a summary over some of the domain names we've looked at today, starting with this last one, customerobsessed.com. Ends next Monday, $12 currently bid. I will be at least $188 if I remember to bid 5 minutes before the auction. Otherwise, I just won't bid on it. It's not a high priority to me. Bestgummies.com. I like this domain name from the best CBD gummies. Remember that keyword we saw under the suggested keywords? Not a great match, but I like it. It's a shorter version of it. This one's going to get probably at least a $688 bid from me. Again, if I remember to bid in the last 5 minutes on it, not going to mess with it now. Did I add it to my watch list though? Let's add it. Did I add that one? Okay, added. Skills tests. Gave that long-winded explanation saying that this is one of 4 domain names that you would need to be buying. I don't like it. I'm going to skip over it, but you can put skills tests and things like on it, like link to different websites and do tests. Seems like fun. HouseReport.com, I'm already outbid, up to $425. You have 4 minutes left, and you'll see there, see how it's extended? That's because somebody bid within the last 5 minutes, and it will continue to extend. It adds 5 minutes every time somebody bids within 5 minutes of the auction. So that's, you always have a couple minutes. That's why you don't bid with 2 seconds left or 5 seconds left. It's not eBay. If you bid at the last second, it just adds 5 minutes, and now there's more people seeing that domain name than ever. That's why you bid at 5 minutes, 10 seconds. Gun prices, I think it's a pretty darn good domain name. Controversial issue though, which you might have headaches because of it. 3 days left on the auction, $130 currently. Salesdoctor.com would be a great blog for somebody that's into sales. Traffic systems, I like it because I'm into traffic, website traffic. Adding it to my watch list, no I'm not, because GoDaddy won't let me. but that was trafficsystem.com. Specialtyfinance.com, already up over $2,000, ends in 7 days. If you're into finance stuff, this one could be a good one, but it's already priced pretty high. So you probably have to have a reason for it. CookHub.com, again, ending, all these domain names ending on Monday. It's kind of crazy. We can, yeah, anyhow. They'll end before showtime next week, though. CookHub, not really sure what you do with it, but $256 in 7 days. Restaurant app, same thing, but app and restaurant like related stuff, $510 currently. That one will get added to my watch list. Let me refresh it and try to add it. Okay, there we go. I like that one because we can provide websites and apps possibly to them. Scratchy.com, I'm bidding on this one. Actually, I'm probably already out of it at the price, but I like it. It's a fun domain name, single word, kind of fun. Scratchy, I could see it being alternatively spelled with a K, but anyhow, not a bad domain name. High Roller Report was one of the report domain names. The next three, the final three, are just, there's a bunch of domain names ending in the next 20 minutes or so. High Roller Report being one of them, $12 currently. Not sure what you do with a blog following high roller gamblers maybe. Snooper Report, same thing. Don't even like that domain name actually, just gonna close it out. Dog Report, 10 minutes left on the auction, if you want to talk about dogs. I don't know. There you go. There you go. Got nothing. Oh my goodness, my chat was not scrolling. I hope I didn't miss. There's some report domains, close out soon. Bicycle Report, Bike Report, Whale Report. Yeah, if Whale Report's on there, that seems like a pretty good one for sure. Dang it, I'm sorry I missed chat. Yeah, and I call it, I'm a nerd. So Clapback's mentioning skills test breaks the rolls off the tongue rule. Used to be called the radio rule or radio check. And the idea of it needs to phonetically, as you say a domain name, one of the tests you always have to, you have to say it out loud. Does it make sense? If you were to tell somebody over the phone your domain name, they have to understand it. In this case, skills tests, why do I have to keep saying it? This is torture. You would always have to say, it's skillstest.com. It's skills with an S at the skills S, tests with an S.com. Like, you'd have to explain your domain name 1,000 different times. That's what Clapback is talking about there, which keep that in mind. You always, like, many people make that mistake. It kills the value. And, okay. Yeah, if you're watching, I do appreciate the like and the subscribe. Watching the, I missed so much chat. I apologize for this, but yeah, okay. Well, on that note, thanks for joining me live. You can check that QR code. It should work now and take you to the website where you can subscribe to the email list. You'll get notified whenever we go live. But you also get that if you subscribe over on YouTube as well, which you should do. That's always a good way to do it. That way you can catch any of the impromptu live shows that I do, including the buy, praise, or roast shows that I occasionally will bust out with. So on that note, thank you for joining me today. I will be back next week, Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, to look through next week's expiring domain names and come up with hopefully some good ones. We'll see. We'll also maybe be able to check in on if any of these domain names surprised us with the prices they go for. I hope to see you as of that point, Monday, 3 p.m. Otherwise, see you over on Discord and in the chat. In the meantime, see you next week.